was in labor. I was sitting in the bed. I was having contractions. I was on a Pitocin drip. And the doctor came in and said, "You've tested positive for opiates."
Elizabeth Eden never imagined she would test positive for opiates when she delivered baby Beatrice last spring. She had heard in a school health class that consuming poppy seeds could cause a false positive, but that was certainly not on her mind when she gave birth at St. Joseph Medical Center April 4th.
And I said, "Well, can you test me again?" And I ate a poppy seed bagel this morning for breakfast. And she said, "No, you've been reported to the state."
Poppy seeds come from the opium poppy plant. The drug is made from the sap of that plant, but the seeds contain trace amounts of opiates. And it doesn't take much to test positive for drugs after eating a poppy seed bagel. In fact, studies have shown that just a teaspoon of poppy seeds can cause your levels to be as high as 1,200 nanograms per milliliter. A positive test at St. Joseph Medical Center is 300 nanograms per milliliter. Dr. Judith Rossiter-Pratt, the chief of the Department of OBGYN, explains they use that as a means to catch as many true drug misusers as possible.
What you can see on this graph is that if you set the bar here, right here, you would only identify true positives. But what you also would do is miss quite a few individuals who did use drugs.
As a result of her breakfast choice, Eden's daughter had to stay in the hospital on hold for 5 days, and Mom was assigned a state caseworker for a home checkup.
It was traumatizing.
We don't typically educate patients, and it's a really good point that people probably should know that if you use poppy seeds before you have a toxicology screen, that it could result in a false positive test. After
realizing Eden's situation was a legitimate case of the poppy seed defense, her caseworker closed the file, but it was an ordeal she hopes no mom has to go through. In Baltimore, Theo Hayes, WBAL TV 11 News.
The road to a new set of wheels is all laid out inside the Baltimore Convention Center, where the Motor Trend Auto Show has something for every budget.
All budgets. I mean, there are cars here that start for $13,000, $14,000. All the way up to, triple digits.
This is the expensive car section. DuPont Registry brings buyers and sellers together of the world's wildest cars.
So if it's shiny, if it's fast, if it's collectible, then that's me. I've got a Maryland-built Shelby recreation that's pushing 600 horsepower.
Perhaps the ultimate in decadence, this $500,000 Rolls Royce, complete with a $2,000 umbrella, because you're gonna need one, and a $9,000 hood ornament that disappears into a titanium vault.
You can take a test drive, not one of these cars, but in this driving simulator, you can see what different Ford models can do on virtual courses.
It has an off-road course, it has a racetrack.
And if you haven't car shopped in a while, at the auto show, you can check out the latest in technology.
Technologies that were only once on luxury cars are now on cars that are $20,000. Cars have changed so much in the last 5 years that a lot of people don't know.
But you can learn all about it here through Sunday. Jennifer Franciotti, WBAL TV 11 News.
I am the guy carrying the flag. This one right here. Yeah.
Wow. Retired Sergeant Major Wilson Thornton was just 16 years old when he joined the Maryland Army National Guard. It was 1949. A year after President Harry Truman signed the executive order to abolish racial discrimination in the U.S. Armed Forces, but a while before things were fully integrated, and even longer for the National Guard, which is operated by states.
A recruiter came up and asked us, did we want to join the Army Reserves? And we said yes. But the address that he gave us to report to was actually the Richmond Market Armory for the colored troops.
Thornton joined the 231st Military Truck Battalion. His unit was originally all black, significant because it was the first National Guard to land in Korea, where it was integrated during that time overseas, but was again segregated when the men returned to the States. Thornton supported those on the front lines in Korea from the States, but felt every bit of the war on racism at home.
We couldn't go in the armory. They would hand us a box lunch at the door, and we had to take care of all our business on the parking lot.
This veteran recalls a significant moment in his military career in 1963 during the race riots in Cambridge, Maryland. The 231st was called in to defuse situations along with white battalions, but ironically, they themselves were segregated until a show of unity was demanded on by the acting adjutant general.
We had guards out on the Choptank River Bridge entering Cambridge, and we put a white and a black on that post with before we had a white on one and a black one.
It was a very different time, but through it all, Sergeant Major Thornton went on to a successful military career, earning his bachelor's, a master's in legal studies, 16 years as a sergeant major in a special forces company, tours abroad, awarded the Legion of Merit for exceptional conduct in service, and he's the first black man to receive the top enlisted position for the Maryland National Guard.
I enjoyed every minute of my time in the military.
To this day, at the age of 85, he works full-time as a civilian, teaching rental contracts to military men and women, and does so in the same armory downtown where he was once not even allowed to enter.
I served in my capacity, regardless of what the state of the nation was at that time. I served as proudly as I could.
In Baltimore, Theo Hayes, WBAL TV 11 News.